Welcome to the Campfire. This week we're taking a deep dive into District 8 5A Division 2. The teams in this district are Dayton, Huntsville, Montgomery, Lake Creek, Nederland, West Fork, P&G, and Splendora. Let's analyze this district in our Randall's Film Session. This will be an absolute powerhouse district, as defending 5A Division II state champs Port Neches Groves is the headliner here. The Indians lost some talent to graduation, but newcomer of the year Connor Bailey is back behind center, and the district's defensive player of the year Jonathan Hernandez is also back in the fold. Lake Creek had a second consecutive undefeated regular season, and with Eli Marcos back at quarterback and a healthy Tyvon Byers in the backfield, expect the Lions to put up some crazy offensive numbers again. Montgomery is feeling good with what it returns, especially at signal caller. Reggie Williams was one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in district play last year, and he'll have his favorite target, Talon Shavers, back as well. Huntsville finishing the regular season 5-5, but then proceeded to go 4 rounds deep in the postseason. The Hornets return a lot, including Treshawn Brown at running back. Splendora is moving up from 4A and hopes receiver Angel Montero will ease that transition. Dayton struggled to a 2-5 district mark last year, and unfortunately, it won't be any easier this season for the Broncos. Running back Hubert Thomas will hope to lead Nederland to a playoff spot, while New Caney's West Fork opens its inaugural UIL season in a competitive district.
The Film Session is brought to you by Randall's. Find these great items on the Chevrolet Inside High School Sports End Cap and take your shopping game to the next level. Chevrolet Inside High School Sports is brought to you by the Houston area Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive.
And now for an even deeper look at 8 5A Division II, here's producer Ward Fasol and the Houston Chronicle's John Poorman with the District Breakdown.
All right, it's District Breakdown time, and my guy John Poorman from the Houston Chronicle joins us. We are finally in individual districts, and we're going to start off in District 8 5A Division II, which is a bear. I mean, it's a bear district because you have a Huntsville team that finished third place in their district last year, and they went all the way to the regional final to face P&G, who's now in their district, and you still got Lake Creek. Just talk about the quality of teams that we have in this district and who you might see coming out.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Some of these teams really got shaken up with the UIL realignment. As you mentioned, this is a pretty tough district just on paper. But it starts with P&G, coached by Katie alum Jeff Joseph. They're the defending state champions, beat Dallas powerhouse South Oak Cliff in the championship game. Finally got to the mountaintop there. They're the prohibited favorite. Obviously, they have to be. You got to give them some respect there and what they've been able to accomplish, particularly in the last couple of seasons. They return a starting quarterback in Connor Bailey, but they also lose a 2,000-yard rusher in Isaiah Wynn and a dynamic receiver in Shea Adams. So, they definitely have some spots to fill, need some playmakers on offense to kind of step up there, but they should definitely be formidable. You look at Lake Creek, over the past 2 years under Coach Pat Kennedy, they've gone 24-2, 12-1 each season, and won some playoff games, obviously, as well. They're going to be led by Tyvon Byers, one of the most prolific rushers in the state. Only played 9 games last year, but still rushed for 1,400 yards and 30 touchdowns. And then they also have a really good returning starter at quarterback at Eli Marcos. So, the Lions aren't going anywhere for sure.
Well, next week we will talk about the other Division II 5A team that we have in the Houston area. District that we have in the area, and they got some powerhouses there as well with Marshall, Iowa Colony, and Randall, and among others. So I will talk to you next week, John. I appreciate you joining me.
Sounds good.
We'll post the entire breakdown segment this Wednesday on our social media pages. And now let's take a look at some game changers in our Players on the Rise, presented by Parker University. When it comes to Lake Creek running back Tyvon Byers, you can't focus on his size or you'll miss his speed. The undersized 5'9" tailback can blow right by you on the gridiron, as he's proven the last 2 seasons. As a sophomore, he ran for more than 2,300 yards, and last year, despite missing a handful of games due to injury, Byers rushed for almost 1,500. Fully recovered, Ty hopes to continue racking up yards and touchdowns as he's found the end zone 68 times on the ground in 2 years. At Nederland, the Bulldogs have a solid running game too behind Hubert Thomas. The senior was a first-team all-district selection last year as a junior. He runs upright, and when he gets a hole, a short gain turns into a long one with his breakaway speed. Hubert also has that Timex factor, as he can take a licking and keep on ticking. At Montgomery, Talon Shavers is a slot receiver who can make things happen within the Bears offense. Coming off a 2-8 season, Shavers was one of the few bright spots for Montgomery. He caught 35 balls for 416 yards and 4 scores, and those numbers should rise as a senior, especially with Reggie Williams back behind center. For the state champions at Port Neches Groves, Jackson Christian is a mountain to get around on that offensive line. He's been dominating the tackle position for the Indians for the past couple of seasons. He's a big boy, weighs in at 309 pounds, and at 6'4", he just smothers his opposition off the snap. Jackson has offers from Texas and Texas A&M, among others.
Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Do you or your student want a career training the world's best athletes? Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today.
Our Ward Fasold caught up with Huntsville head coach Rodney Southern to talk about his Hornets in our Media Day segment.
All right, it's Media Day. We are talking 8-5A Division II with Huntsville head coach Rodney Southern. And coach, before we even dive into the realignment in the new district, man, I want to talk about last year, because you guys got out the gate 1-3, and you might have been a little bit iffy about how things were going to go. And man, did your defense clamp down in the playoffs, and you got your clap back against Randall and got that win, and all of a sudden you find yourself in the regional final with the team that went on to win the state championship. Talk about how that season progressed and how you may have saw your team getting better as the year went along.
Well, first of all, we thought we were going to have a pretty good football team. You know, our kids that were juniors this past season, they've had a lot of success. They're very similar to our juniors and seniors from 18 and 19. I thought we would be good. The scary part is we didn't really know when. We had some things happen, obviously, early in the year, but I thought we were playing well enough. We weren't very consistent in a couple positions. The biggest thing to me is always get in and then worry about what happens after that. And I thought when we went to Texas City, we had a great trip down there. We had a great team meal, all the things that as a coach you look at leading up to that. And we were at one point up 10-0. And if we don't fumble on the 4 or 5 yard line, we probably win that game 17-0. And our defense obviously played really well that night. And, I'd love to say it was coaching, but we moved up a couple JV kids and a freshman running back. And those kids performed extremely well in the playoffs.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you joining with us, Coach Southern. And, man, good luck. I know we're 4 months away, but we can always talk about it, right?
We'll be here before you know it.
There you go. Thanks again, Coach. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And you can catch that entire interview Friday on our social media channels. That's going to do it for this week's Campfire. Next week, we head to District 9, 5A Division II. Until then, have a great week, everybody.